Hey, how's it going, guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're going to be building a mini ITX PC inside of the all-new NZXT H1 featuring the RTX 3050.
We're going to be building a pretty high-end PC that's going to look absolutely awesome inside the redesigned NZXT H1 that has a better liquid cooler, better GPU cooling support, and a couple other features that we'll touch on when we're building it. But before we dive into this video, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Wondershare and their fantastic software, DemoCreator. DemoCreator is a screen capture and editing software designed to make it easy as possible to go from start to finish on any video project. We wanted to highlight its newest feature for any aspiring VTubers or virtual streamers. DemoCreator now has a virtual presenter mode, allowing you to use your face cam to control a character. As well as picking your presenter, you can pick a background that best fits your style. After recording, your gameplay or presentation footage can be taken immediately into DemoCreator software. And here you can apply other effects such as voice changing or captions. Create your perfect VTuber by trying DemoCreator for free by using the link in the description down below. Thanks again to our sponsor Wondershare, and good luck to you aspiring VTubers. Let's get back into the video, shall we?
And one quick disclaimer is that this is an RTX 3050, which is a pretty decent mid-range card, and obviously we did decide to go 12th gen with a very nice Z690i board because you have to go mini ITX. So keep in mind, you could save a lot of money by going with like a 10th gen i5 as opposed to what we went with and then getting a cheap B560 ITX board. But you know what, we decided, hey, 12th gen's out, there's gonna be some new stuff coming out pretty soon here as well, so we don't wanna get left behind, and we figured we'll just see just how well 12th gen reacts with this 3050.
So let's not waste any more time and talk about each individual part and how it makes up this mini ITX PC build.
So for the CPU, speaking on 12th gen, this is the Intel i5-12600K, and there's actually a liquid cooler built inside of this H1 that should be a 140mm NZXT cooler, and in a minute Matt will touch on the upgraded power supply and the upgraded case overall, but yeah, the liquid cooler would be plenty to cool this because this doesn't come with one, and this processor actually has 6 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, making it a 10-core, 16-threaded processor. It is actually quite a bit more powerful than something like the normal i5-10400, which is still a great option, like I said, because you do save a lot of money getting this and then a much cheaper board and not having to get DDR5 RAM, which we'll talk about in a second. So overall, if you want to save a lot of money and still get pretty similar performance, go with that setup. And now at the time of making this video, I could not really find the B660Is out yet, so really the only mini ITX option that supports 12th gen that's out is the Z690i. So of course this is the highest of the highest end, and we did get a GIGABYTE Aorus Ultra board because honestly, you really don't save much money going with like a much cheaper ITX boards because right now these are just expensive. So we are pretty excited to have the really good upgrade path, and look at that, it's DDR5 and PCIe 5, meaning once you want to upgrade this graphics card, because this does fit bigger cards now too, it can fit like 3 fan cards, it just makes perfect sense to go ahead and have this amazing upgrade path that you can upgrade really everything in it. And now for the RAM, I'm actually pretty excited about this because OLOY is normally a pretty budget brand, but this is OLOY Blade DDR5 RGB RAM, and this is actually 5600 megahertz, and it's a 16 gig kit. They finally have 16 gig kits, so you don't have to go with 32, although it really does make sense if you can afford it. It's like $500 if you want to go with 32. This ended up being about $219, I believe, from Newegg, so we definitely saved some money there, and their packaging is looking really nice, so hopefully the RAM looks just good.
Now for the graphics card, big thanks to GIGABYTE for sending this over. This is their RTX 3050. Once again, this is like a mid-range GPU, so you most certainly could go with a higher-end GPU with something like the 12600K if you wanted to, or you can go with a slightly lower-end CPU to go with the 3050, but we really want to test the 3050 and see what it can do. It has 8 gigs of VRAM, and great for pretty much any game you want to throw at it. So yeah, big shout out to GIGABYTE for sending this over. Excited to see how it performs. Now for the SSD, we have the good old Team Group MP33 Pro 512GB SSD. This is only Gen 3. You could spend a little bit more money on something like a Gen 4 SSD or a little bit more capacity, but for the budget of this build, we went with this drive, and we're never disappointed with these Team Group drives. And last but certainly not least, once again, this is the new H1, and it features a 750 watt power supply compared to a 650 watt. It is 80 plus gold, and it is built in, ready to go. You have a 140mm liquid cooler, so you get better cooling, and it has better ventilation for the GPU. So overall, it's an upgraded, well, version of the H1, and it will work. It won't catch on fire. I was told it won't catch on fire, so we're gonna trust that. But yeah, H1, absolutely beautiful. We got the matte black version. Very excited to put this thing together. Let's not waste any more time and just dive right into it.
Alright guys, now that we have this NZXT H1 PC all booted up and ready to go, let's talk about some benchmarks real quick. Now we decided to test this PC in a handful of titles, those being Apex Legends, Cyberpunk, Call of Duty Warzone, and Rainbow Six Siege. First up in Apex Legends on high settings at 1080p, we end up getting an average of 160 FPS. Now this is a game that is perfect for the RTX 3050. Yes, of course with the 12600K you can go with a much better GPU, but given the market right now, it wouldn't be a bad idea to save some money on, let's say, the 3050 and still get a really good gaming experience and be able to upgrade in the future with that 12th gen Intel architecture. You could cut some costs by going the 12400 route and maybe some DDR4 memory, but I really do think the configuration still makes some sense. The 3050 is a very capable card given its price point, and it's good for entry-level live streaming as well. Now, of course, when we step up to higher end games like Cyberpunk, really demanding AAA titles on medium settings using the built-in benchmark, we only get an average of about 54 FPS. If you're someone who really wants to play the latest and greatest at 1440p and above, yeah, you definitely want to spend a little extra money on a 3070 or 3080. But if you just look at yourself and realize, well, all I really play are esports titles, then maybe go with a 3050 and a 12600K and maybe go that DDR4 route to save a little bit of money, and you have yourself a really awesome PC with a great upgrade path in the future. Oh, and I do have to mention, I'm absolutely thrilled with the performance of the H1 case. The upgraded liquid cooler and the higher wattage power supply does help with those upgrades in the future, and also it just keeps things nice and cool. The extra ventilation works really well, so there's really no complaints with this package, which we'll talk more about at the end of the benchmark run. Now, the next game we decided to test was Call of Duty Warzone at medium settings, 1080p, and this is another game where we start to see the 3050 reach its limits a little bit, only getting an average of about 70 FPS. Warzone is a pretty GPU dependent game. If you aren't playing the lower end esports titles, definitely opt for like a 3060, especially with how fast GPU prices are going down right now. You could get a really good deal on a 3060 and pay about what we would have paid for a 3050 at the time recording this video, so that's something to definitely keep in mind. But yes, Warzone is definitely a more demanding game, and something you should keep in mind is what kind of games you're going to play when you're configuring your gaming PC. And the last game that we tested that of course is going to work great on the 3050 is Rainbow Six Siege, built-in benchmark, very high settings, 249 FPS average. So overall, this PC is great. I do recommend, if you want to save a little bit of money, go with the DDR4 platform, and you really could save, give or take, like $100 to maybe even $200, and maybe go for the 12400 if you're mainly playing esports titles. Or you could do the opposite and upgrade to a 3060 or 3070 or a 6700 XT or 6800 XT from AMD and have a really awesome PC. I absolutely love the 12600K value for money, and I really look forward to doing more builds with it in the future. So now we finished the benchmarking section of today's video. How to bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick.
Alright guys, so this new H1, the H2, as we like to call it around here, actually did really well. So that new upgraded 750 watt power supply is way more than enough to power this system specifically, and you really could go a lot higher end with it and still be well below the actual power requirements. And on top of that, the upgraded cooler kept this thing incredibly cool, and the upgraded case as well, just with all these holes and everything, it just absolutely ran amazing.
So if you want to pick up any of the parts from today's video, the links in the description down below will be affiliate links and it will help us out. And yeah, you could build a lot of different PCs at a wide range of different specs inside the H1, so definitely consider it when building your next gaming PC.
So as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros, and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey, we'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
Hey, if you want a cool custom PC like this, or if you just want a cheap off-the-shelf one ready to game, we got you covered at our PC selling business.
PCBros.tech is where we sell gaming PCs, gaming laptops, and a bunch of other tech stuff. You can come in person or shop online over at PCBros.tech and use code ToastyBros2 on checkout to save 2% off of those really good deals already. So check the link down below. See you guys later. Goodbye.